Hey, good afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're feeling well. We're in Matthew chapter number 5, and we are dealing with part 2 of a sermon in the Sermon on the Mount called The Law of Adultery and Lust. Boy, that's a fun topic. And boy, that's an awkward topic. But you know what? These things have to be addressed and these things have to be taught upon. Jesus taught about it, and so do we. And so we are speaking on something that's very important. Now, last week we looked over at verse 27 and 28, really focusing on the letter of the law. We saw the Old Testament principle, and then we saw Jesus' New Testament principle. Today we are dealing with this idea of living the law. So, if we're not supposed to look with lust, if we're not supposed to commit adultery, that's wrong. How do we combat that? Well, Jesus makes it very practical, as he always does in verses 29 and 30. Let me read those to you. Matthew 5:29 says, "If thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, that thy whole body should be cast into hell." And then he says in verse number 30, "If thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that if one of thy members should perish, that and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell." So these are rather popular verses and ones that we are familiar with, this idea of the right eye, the right hand, not mentioned here, but mentioned in another passage, your right foot. Jesus is talking about that. And notice the context again. He's talking about these things in reference to lust and adultery. So, what is he trying to get across here to us in this teaching? Well, he's talking about when it comes to combating lust and adultery, we need to work on two areas here specifically: controlling the eyes and controlling the body, more specifically the hands. We need to get our bodies into control with the aid and help of God. And that is very obvious here, okay? So notice the similarity in these two verses. They practically, even though they are talking about two different body parts, the eyes versus the hands, he has a similar ending to it. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and thy whole body should be cast into hell. He says it's more worthy to deal with that problem or deal with that troublemaking body part than to have every part of us go into God's judgment. So notice the word here that is mentioned in both. It is offend. If your eye offend thee, right eye offend thee, or your right hand offend thee. This word offend means to scandalize. It means to entrap. We should not let our body trap or scandalize the whole person of us. We need to make sure that we do what it takes to prevent this offense or this entrapment. And so, really, when it's talking about controlling the eyes, this is saying if there is something between you and God, and this goes with the hand as well, you need to get rid of it. You need to delete the equation. Now, Jesus here is using hyperbole. Okay, he's not commanding us to go ahead and poke out our own eyes. He's not commanding us to, get out a hacksaw and chop off your own hand. That's not what he's talking about. He's using extreme language to get across the point. What is he saying? If there's something between you and God that is causing you to stumble, get rid of it. Okay, let's make this very practical. Instead of poking out your eye, why don't you get rid of something that may be a problem, causing a problems with what you watch? So, do you have movies in your house that are wrong and offensive? Do you have websites that you are going to that are wrong and offensive? Do you have places that you are going to that you see things that cause you to lust and cause you to stumble? Then instead of poking out your eye, why don't you delete those things from your life? Okay? Don't poke out your eye, throw away that DVD. Okay, don't poke out your eye. Get rid of that website from the list of things you look at. Don't watch those things. Don't view those things. Is what he's trying to get across. If there is something coming between you and God, Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Job 31:1, Job said, I have made a covenant with mine eyes. I made an agreement, a pact with my eyes. Well, what does that pact say, Job? Why then should I think upon a maid? So he's Job here, who is Old Testament, probably the first, one of the oldest books in the Bible. He actually is teaching the same thing that Jesus is teaching in the New Testament, that the eyes and the thinking go hand in hand. Okay, and so I'm going to make a covenant with mine eyes. I'm not going to look upon and I'm not going to think upon something that is going to cause me to stumble spiritually. Wow, great wisdom from the patriarch Job. David said in Psalm 101, verse 3, I will set no wicked thing before mine eyes. I hate the work of them that turn aside. It shall not cleave unto me. So maybe a good thing to do is take David's advice, which David knows full well what it's like to fall to the eye gates. Why don't we make a decision, just like Job did? I'm not going to put wicked things before my eyes. I'm going to take out the stumbling block from me. I'm not going to put myself in that position. And there's several ways to do that. Getting these things out of our homes, out of our lives. And the second thing really has to do with getting accountability. Making sure that you are communicating with people in your life that know that you have this weakness, that can pray with you and encourage you and can check on you so that you can have a proper walk with God, controlling the eyes. And also, obviously, verse 30 talks about controlling the hands. The hand is the symbol of human action. Okay, the hand is symbolizing everything that we do. The use of the hands were very important to people during the times of Jesus, and obviously our hands are extremely important today. Just think of all the things you do with your hands. Now, the hands again is symbolizing the overall totality of human action. Solomon said in Ecclesiastes 9:10, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with all thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave which thou goest. The hands are extremely important. But there is something that we should not strive to do with our hands, and that is to sin. All right. And if our hands are becoming a problem, if what we are doing is wrong, we need to remove ourselves from the situation so that our hands and our eyes cannot be involved in sinning against God. So I guess the thing that we come to and the conclusion that we stop and need to ask is, what is coming between us and God? What is being a wedge between us? Is it our friends? Is it our relationships? Is it what we watch in entertainment? Is it the things we listen to? What is stopping me and what is driving a wedge between me and God? What is clouding my thinking so that I'm not living properly? That is where we need to stop and ask. And if there is something out there, Christian, as we review our lives and constantly we are evaluating and reevaluating, if there is something that needs to be deleted from the equation of our lives, why justify it? Why try to make it sound good? Why try to put lipstick on a pig and say it's not that bad or that ugly or that wrong? Don't say everybody else does it. Why can't I? I can handle it. Why don't we just call a spade and say this is wrong and it needs to leave my life? If thy right hand offend thee, if thy right hand offend thee, if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out, cut it off, get it out. Because we don't need to fall into judgment. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, and have a great day. God bless you.